Kerry Clarke flew in on her broomstick tonight. Finally, someone with proper transportation standards. She favours writing tales of haunted houses and hearts, particularly dark, twisted fairy tales. Her offering tonight springs from her deepest fears, garnished with feminine rage. How utterly bewitching. Tonight we shall taste the intent behind a spell. Welcome, Kerry.
The intent behind a spell. There's nothing left of my blaze except scorch marks. Ashes have carried everything she'd been, everything she hoped to be, and yet to become, into the headwinds. I've lurked in perpetual darkness ever since. My husband knew they were coming for Blaze. He slipped my home-blended sleeping tonic into my nighttime tea, watching me slump over with a weary gaze that I couldn't understand at the time. Words in my mouth slurred as I tried to ask him what was amiss. The door burst open. The monsters poured in, seized my sweet Blaze by her hair, hauling her out like a sack of grain, her feet dragging straight to the stake. Her screams are still crystal clear, begging for me, begging for her innocence. It's a stranglehold of guilt I cannot swallow. It shouldn't have been Blaze. The single thought strangles us like a noose, unspoken but potent in the icy expressions we wear like armour in our home. It should have been me. What good were vows when betrayal is the scythe blow to the fragile bond we shared? The scars of grief, duplicity, timidity are embedded too deep for any inclination of reconciliation. As the moon phases turned, I kept a low profile, gathering fragments of information, the whispers spoken behind hand and loosened lips, unravelling the truth like a monstrous tapestry. The pain of her demise a hot needle in my chest when the culprit's name was finally surrendered. Claude Mortimer. Blaze had not been the only midwife he's tried and judged as a witch, proclaiming to the priest that he'd witnessed them cursing the babes freshly cut from the womb. Women who are now nothing but ashes. Sickening. Once is an observation, twice is a coincidence, a third is a pattern, 4 or more is deliberate. It's time to call upon the doctor. The strength of a witch's spell depends entirely on the intent behind it. I stole into Claude's manor like a shadow, bypassing the servants and lush furnishings to his study, beholding him lifting a tumbler of brandy, patting himself on the back for his fortunes, while me and countless others suffer a living nightmare. Enough. I step out of the shadows to face Claude. The cordial veneer cracks like a stone upon a looking glass, the corruption warping his face. Being obtuse, pretending he didn't know what I meant, when he's all too aware of his crimes. Attempts to give me condolences, believing himself untouchable, deliberately calling my Blaze a family shame. My daughter was nothing but a blessing. Do not speak her name, you murderer. You know, it's ironic how you named her Blaze. Considering how sweetly she burned, it should have been me. My gaze reddens. I have his bearded jaw in a clawed grip, my magic throbbing, matching the heartbeat in my ribcage. Takeos. Claude's lips clamp shut. Immobilis. His body seizes up, arms and legs out. Attenio. Cheeks puffed with screams against his sealed lips. His bones shrink down with sickening, popping cracks until he's the size of an insect. Clothes dropped in a heap on the floorboards, leaving him naked as a babe. Magic settled heavy on my bones as I moved us to the bay window. The sunset was like an orb dipped in blood, vibrant as my vengeance. Silver strands glint above me, weaving gently. I smile wickedly. He's reduced my life to a living nightmare. It's his turn now. I cast his outstretched body into the centre folds of the spider web, ensuring his naked limbs tangled in the thread patterns without threat of collapse. His eyes nearly bulge out of his head. I'll see you in hell, Claude. The strength behind a witch's spell is the intent behind it. With 3 spells, it was only a matter of time before one wore off. His jerking limbs vibrated through the web. Oh, I wouldn't do that, Claude, I taunt. Too late. A dark, bulbous creature slithers out from the top corner of the window. Long brown legs stretch out languidly, grazing the trembling webbed threads. A fresh catch. It descends slowly to Claude, savouring the capture. Its legs snap around him, a grotesque spot, fighting on a silver canvas. The web jerks, 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 then stills.